Welcome to a new daily top Askreddit video. Today's topic. What are some of the most toxic or potentially dangerous ideas / beliefs that have been perpetuated by Redditors? Think about the subjects that you have an immense amount of knowledge about. Maybe you've spent your whole life studying it. Now think about all the times you've seen a well-written comment on Reddit with thousands of upvotes that is completely and verifiably wrong. Now think about all the subjects you know nothing about, and all the times you've learned something from a well-written comment with thousands of upvotes. Are you telling me that history's biggest public bathroom stall graffiti board, Reddit itself, is not to be trusted? This is the best description of Reddit I've ever read. Briefly stated, the Gell-Mann amnesia effect is as follows. You open the newspaper to an article on some subject you know well. In Murray's case, physics. In mine, show business. You read the article and see the journalist has absolutely no understanding of either the facts or the issues. Often, the article is so wrong it actually presents the story backward, reversing cause and effect. I call these the wet streets cause rain stories. Papers full of them. In any case, you read with exasperation or amusement the multiple errors in a story, and then turn the page to national or international affairs, and read as if the rest of the newspaper was somehow more accurate about Palestine than the baloney you just read. You turn the page, and forget what you know. Michael Crichton. You'll read comments and think, wow, these people know so much about this topic. But then a topic will come up that you have expertise in, and you'll realize that people on this site just pull answers out of their ass with confidence. Also, after enough time here you'll start to realize the average demo is on the young side and has very little life experience. Keep that in mind when you scroll through the comments. There's so much stuff that could be debunked with a simple web search. Holy fucking shit. I'm going to make a Mythbusters Reddit themed YouTube video and become famous. Edit, for those of y'all taking me seriously, I'm way too lazy for that. Almost too lazy to even just watch it if someone else makes one. Almost. Everyone is an armchair psychologist. You post about feeling sad sometimes and inevitably someone is like that's because you have atypical depression and bipolar disorder or whatever. Or if someone is having a fairly normal relationship issue, their partner is labeled a narcissist, sociopath, or a borderline or something. Today my so had a rough day and didn't tell me good night. Reddit, run immediately, too many red flags, end this relationship, you're better than that op. I posted on somewhere on Reddit once asking what would be a good place in the US to move to considering I prefer hotter temperatures and my wife prefers colder temperatures. Basically a place where the temperature is more balanced like between 50s to 70s. The majority of the response was to leave her because it's just not gonna work. Alright. Reddit has a tendency to label people toxic and encourage relationship advice that isn't great. Deleted. Ghosting is one of the few things that legitimately make me angry with someone. Like, genuinely angry. I hate being the receiving end, and I'd never allow myself to purposefully do it. That being said, I'm also awful at keeping in touch. The longer it's been since we last talked, the more unlikely I'll be to be the one to say hi again. However, there's a difference between falling out of touch and suddenly ignoring someone overnight. One example of this: a medical doctor posts a well-written comment about the dangers of overprescribing antibiotics. Top comment of the thread. Tons of awards. Later a second-year med student posts a similar comment. Still well-written but maybe misses a few key points specifying how and why. Again top comment of the thread. Gilded to the nines. Later a college freshman bio major writes a pretty bad summary of the situation, but it's part of the Reddit hive mind echo chamber, so anyone who bothers to correct him gets misinterpreted and downvoted. And so on until someone literally tells me they read on Reddit that taking antibiotics is dangerous and will lead to a super disease that will wipe out humanity. Come on Reddit. Lol, it's just like the telephone game. My child's high school had the novel idea of using the telephone game to teach a bunch of teenagers how misinformation works. The beginning message was apparently something mundane about a statue outside. The end message was a list of various female students that are suspected to be pregnant. The admin really felt dumb after letting that go unmonitored in a school-wide assembly / demonstration. Edit at 881 upvotes. Plot twist, I made this up, making it misinformation itself. I actually feel bad. This is how misinformation works and I demonstrated it on a perfect thread. That people who use Reddit are somehow superior or more in the know about things than people who don't. Cringe Instagram is stealing all our memes, as the next 90 posts are all screecaps of Twitter posts or memes originating from 4chan. What's funny is that there is no such thing as a perfect social media. Every single site is filled with the same groups of people. Worshipping celebrities. 10-year-olds don't need to receive death threats because he's never heard of a 55-year-old actor. Edit: I really didn't think I had to say this, but the kid didn't use Reddit. Redditors still banded together to harass and threaten him. He didn't violate the 13+ rule, not that that matters, because you shouldn't send death threats to 10-year-olds, 13-year-olds, or adults for that matter. Can't believe that needed to be said. Hey Reddit, why do you like Keo so much? Because of how nice he is. Why don't you follow his example? There is a joke about humanity's ability to follow the example of a saintly individual from Nazareth in there, but someone better with words will have to tease it out. This one is so true. Our celebrity culture is so stupid. The Kardashians /Beyoncé /Taylor Swift are just people. I don't get why people care so much about everything they do. But watch what happens when you say that Keanu Reeves isn't that good at acting. The Boston Marathon bomber. Reddit started a whole shitstorm by identifying a missing person as one of the bombers. Sunil Tripathi was the innocent person that got mistaken for one of the bombers. There was a lot of fallout and users tracking down family members, friends and even high-profile news people sending out messages that it could be the bomber. https://bbc.co.uk/news/technology-222632020. There was an episode on Newsroom about this. Will, Jeff Daniels, even had a small rant about social media and Reddit in particular. Edit: for anyone interested, here's the link. That show was such a gem. It's a shame we only got a few seasons. We did it, Reddit. Is a meme about how inept Reddit was in that case, and also about how dangerous hive mind is when it gets the wrong idea but believes it's right. But news media is its own special kind of shit. I don't know why news outlets continue putting out content saying X is behind Y. They get it wrong a lot before the real info surfaces. How many mass shootings have they blamed on Sam Hyde, or a name derived from Sam Hyde? It's basically a 4chan rite of passage to get a news outlet to erroneously report Sam Hyde as the shooter. The general belief that how an idea is presented is more important than what is being said. I can't count the number of times I've seen bullshit conjecture with clean grammar get upvoted past someone who actually knows what the fuck they are talking about from direct experience but can't spell for SHYT. That's not a Reddit thing, that's a life thing. Too many people unknowing assimilate into the hive mid. Like, if you start to agree with all the most upvoted posts every day, and get angry / upset when someone makes a valid point against what is clearly right / correct, to Reddit, it's time to back away slowly. I'd argue the opposite as well. People on Reddit often have a desire to be contrarian, to argue against hive mid / popular topics, sometimes excessively or toxically. There's kind of a spectrum of popular and anti-popular on here. If the devil ever needed an advocate, Reddit is like a job fair. Our / myth asshole used to be a great place where you could get an honest opinion on whether or not an action you took makes you an asshole. Sometimes you still might get an honest comment or two, but the amount of times where I've seen YTA responses get removed or downvoted to oblivion, while others are screaming NTA, they shouldn't have been slightly mean to you if they didn't want to get murdered. Exaggeration, but I'm shocked half the time I look at the comments. I'm very convinced most of the active users on that sub have never had a job. Whenever a workplace situation comes up and the other person was being any kind of mean or disrespectful, any actions by OP are completely justified regardless of the potential career impact. The majority of Redditors are in their teens or early 20s, so you're probably right. Major red flags here, OP. This is not a hill you want to die on, OP. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes, OP. NTA. It's your wedding, OP. You get to decide how it goes. NTA. Just because it's her wedding, doesn't mean she gets to act like a dictator, OP. I think my issue with the sub is that most posts are a masturbatorial exercise in self-righteousness. Nobody is asking if they're actually an asshole, it's a question of whether or not they're correct. I've been right and an asshole at the same time many occasions in my life. They are not mutually exclusive and, frequently, accompany one another. Especially when you feel you have the moral high ground. Example, some guy pulled out onto a busy road blocking both lanes and proceeded to change lanes into me, striking my vehicle when I tried to pass. I would have been right in getting out of my car and being upset about his negligence in driving, demanding his insurance, and calling his rental car company to excoriate his driving abilities. Instead, I made sure he was okay, that our cars were drivable, shook his hand, and told him to have a good day. The reality is that I drive a 13-year-old beat-up car and he didn't really cause additional damage. Sometimes it's not about being right, it's about being human.